Nothing, baby. Let's go. That's the world now. That's the whole world.
Welcome to the Lone Star College Football Show. I'm your host, Chris Daly. Each episode, I will bring you news and information about college football in Texas, not just the FBS school, anyone who plays college football in the great state of Texas. I will do so by talking with the people making it happen on the gridiron, the head coaches, the staff, the players, but mostly the head coaches. Thank you for joining us.
Looking to boost your company's marketing? Look no further than Fresh Media Works. Podcasting is the best way to promote your brand and increase your customer base. You can create your own show, be a guest on other podcasts, or advertise on existing podcasts to reach a valuable audience. Don't wait. Start elevating your marketing game today with Fresh Media Works. Call now, 713-269-4620, or find us online at freshmediaworks.com/podcasting.
This series consists of press conferences at the 2023 Texas High School Football Coaches Association Convention. This is Elijah Robinson, Texas A&M Assistant Head Coach.
How has recruiting changed in the NIL era? How it's building your roster changed to get
Yeah, so the thing that we all have to realize is NIL is here, okay? And it's real as far as recruiting thing. The unique part for us here is that we're not allowed to have those conversations with the prospects at all, so we can do what we have to do as far as the recruitment aspect, and that stays the same. But as far as the NIL, we're not allowed to have those conversations at all with those guys. So it's pretty easy for us on our part.
Working with BGA and the last couple of years, what's the next
Just watching him grow from when he first got here. Obviously, he's been at some really good programs, Wake Forest, Georgia, spent some time at Rutgers. The biggest thing for BJ is he understands relationships. He does a really good job relating to the players. Also does a really good job just building relationships with the parents and high school coaches. So that's the first part we're really going to do anything in any business that you're in, or any job you have. Can you build relationships? And that's a really good job of that.
So on the Eastern Chronicle, Collegiate balance the idea of recruiting nationally, but also think that there's a lot of talent here in the state in a couple hours from College Station in a lot of different directions. And what do you tell the Texas high school coaches? Because I know one of your strengths, of course, is recruiting the Northeast. So how do you balance that?
Well, the first thing you want to do is take care of home, okay? And we're going to take care of our backyard before anything else. When you look at our staff, all our staff have parts of Houston, all our staff have parts of Dallas. We're going to take care of home before we do anything else. And then from there, you rely on just your connections you have in other places. Like for myself, I am a Murphy's guy, so I do have connections there, but it has to be a fit. It has to be a fit wherever you go. The first thing we want to do is take care of our kids right here in our home state. And just for talking D-line alone, look at our freshman class in D-line, a lot of those guys were all in-state guys.
Other tricks are more. What impact does that have on the way you guys put together a roster and be the high school and
You look at the, like I said again, we're talking about NIL first, then we're talking about the portal. It's all new and then it's all here. I think each program is different. We're going to look at what's the best fit for our team, what can help our team be successful. That doesn't mean that we're going to go more high school and more portal. We're going to see what fits for us, okay, and what's the best thing for us to do as far as building the best team to put on the field.
You have arguably the most talented D-line in the country. What are the challenges of not only finding playing time for everybody, but keeping everybody happy in this era where a player can do it if they choose to?
It's about creating the relationships, okay, amongst that room. And everybody said everyone's talented. Well, we have to go out on the field and show that. But the most important thing is this: do they like being around each other? Okay, do we create a room where there is a family atmosphere. Okay, we talk about something when we break the huddle, it's the EST, and that's everybody shines together. And that's not something that the coaches came up with, the D-line came up with that. Okay, so for those guys who come up with a huddle break that says EST, everybody shines together, that's something that they're all on the right page. Okay, those guys are close, those guys spend a lot of time with each other outside of football. So we don't have issues worrying about who's getting the best playing time. And the more we have, and we can play in waves and keep guys fresh throughout the whole game, I think we'll be successful. Those guys understand that, they buy into that.
Travis Bryant, College Station Eagle. What did Terry Price mean to you as a person? And I believe that how much is playing for him going to be a message of the defensive line issue?
Coach Price made an impact on many people, within the program, outside of the program, coaches, support staff, players. He's a dear friend of mine. I looked up to Coach Price. He made the transition for myself and my family easy when we came to Texas A&M. It's something that doesn't have to be said or talked about. I think we don't have to push it as a coaching staff. Those players really love Coach Price. Those players adore Coach Price. And I think it's going to be something internally that we're all going to try to put our best foot forward for Coach Price. That's what he'll want. I think those guys internally, they'll all have their own chip on their shoulder to play hard for Coach Price.
Have you had any kind of early indication where the defensive line be towards the coach at this point, or how are you handling that moving forward?
Like I said, that'll be a decision for Coach Fisher to decide on. However, it's always been a close room where myself and Coach Price work really well together. So we never looked at it as, hey, the DNs are your guys, the D tackles are my guys. We coached them all together. We met together, did a lot of things together with those guys. At times we had to break for maybe individual drills or something like that. But like I said, I coached all four my whole career. And again, I have a relationship with every D lineman there is on the roster. So whatever the coach decides to do, we'll be fine with it.
Billy and Bonnie on three. What makes Conway been tough to defend from your vantage point, coaching the D line?
Well, he can hurt you through the arrow with his feet. I think anytime a quarterback brings that dynamic, it makes it tough to do defense. You always have to account for him. And like I said, not only that, man, he makes people around him better. His leadership skills and the way he goes about controlling the offense, he makes those guys better. So he's a guy that gives a lot of problems in practice. Like I said, that whole quarterback room, not just Connor, that whole room is really special. And I think any of those guys, whoever they decide to put on the field, is going to give us issues on practice.
Now you are associate head coach, and you've got a chance to kind of fill in for Jim Doelle and do these things. Is head coaching something that you see sometime down the line in your future? And what are these kind of reps, these things done for you?
I'm forever grateful for the opportunity that Coach Fisher has given me. And the biggest thing for me is doing the best job I can do where I'm at. And that's being a defensive line coach at Texas A&M, and I'm going to do that as best as I can. And whatever opportunity comes from that, that'll be God's blessing. But right now, I focus on trying to put the best D-line out on the field for you guys this upcoming season.
I'm curious, you developed a reputation as a really strong recruiter and being able to help assign some really high-profile guys. What is your ethos and your philosophy of recruiting? What is it that you lean on to be successful with that?
As a football coach, you never want to create a stigma of just being a recruiter. You also want to be guys known as a developer of talent, developer of character, just trying to develop the whole young man. The biggest thing I'll say is this, we give out credit to individuals, but our support staff, our coaching staff, I think we do a really good job working together on building a family-like atmosphere. And when families come on campus and spend time with us on official visits or unofficial visits, they walk away feeling like, this is home. And I think you can't put just the success on one coach, because like I said, at the end of the day, as a staff, and not just our full-time coaching staff, our support staff, our wives, our families, they do a really good job. And when families leave from College Station and spend time at Texas A&M, they walk away from it really feel like it's family. And I think that's the best thing you can do is be yourself. The school sells itself, you know, and now it's just wishing people want to relate us around these young men.
What have you learned from DJ Durkin, you know, and taking from him, and vice versa, obviously, in the past year that he's been on board?
One thing I learned from Coach Durkin is how much family means to him. Even with our strenuous schedule as coaches, he always said makes time for family. Okay, and that's something that I adore about Coach Durkin and how important family is. The next thing I learned from him is, man, what's best for the players? Okay, what do our players do well, and let's make it easier for them. Allow them to play fast without the thinking, and like I said, less is more. When the guys enjoy doing what they're doing, and when they play hard, you don't have to think too much. So those are some things that I really love about Coach Durkin when I learned from him.
In terms of, what is y'all's approach coming off the 5-7 season in terms of saying, you know, that was maybe an aberration in report? How are y'all handling that going into this season? With obviously a lot of expectations.
Yeah, well, our biggest thing is we cannot allow expectations to predict the way we perform. As a staff, as our players, we understand that we did not finish where we needed to finish last year, and this year has to change. I think our players are ready for that, our staff is ready for that, and again, we know we have to get better, but we had a really good spring. The morale around our team was really good, and we're looking forward to just being back on the field soon.
Guys like McKinney Jackson at the Big that are running now and kind of been veterans on that year. What have you seen from them this offseason, and what kind of your expectations for the end of this year?
I think when you look at leadership, you say, okay, not just what they do for themselves as individuals, but do they get the guys around to follow them? And I think those two guys, along with Shamar Turner and Isaiah Rakes and a few more of those guys, they did a really good job this offseason to get the young guys to follow them. Whether that's going out to go bowling, whether that's to go eat, or that's those guys doing extra work on their own time. They're getting a lot of guys to follow behind them. They're making guys around them better. So I think when you talk about leadership skills, that's one of the biggest traits you can see. When you make people around you better, and those guys that are doing that.
So as a fellow assistant, what does Bobby Petrino bring to the staff, and what might he do different than other offensive coordinators you work with?
Well, I know he brings great knowledge to the staff. He brings great experience in the things that he's done in the past. To speak specifically on what he does different from others, sorry for me to answer that, but I know that he gave us some great challenges this spring. You know, he made some things tough with us where we had to make some adjustments from this spring. And like I said, he's a joy to be around, I'll tell you that.
I know last season was a little bit of a transition for the line because you had a group the year before that was all veterans. A lot of guys went on the NFL. You had a lot more guys stepped in new roles. How much of an adjustment was that for those guys, and how much of a step up do you think the guys up front can take now that they're kind of taking, had some words and taking some of the experience from last year?
Well, I'd say the experience is your greatest teacher. So they said we had a really good group with Martin Leal, Mike Clements, and Jacob Peavy and Tyree and those guys that played a lot of ball for us. And I remember back when we first got there in 2018, a lot of people would talk about Doelle and him being a bust. People didn't realize Justin BK didn't take much ball prior to that. We moved Kingsley Keke, we moved him from a 3-tech out to a strong end. So every year we kind of been there was a guy replacing the next guy. When Doelle and Keke left, then it was Mike Clements and Peepe's turn to step in. Then when those guys left, it was Bobby Brown stepping in. So I kind of every year was kind of been a swinging door. I think last year those guys' experience was the whole D-line left as a whole. So again, yeah, these guys are talented, but it's nothing like experience. You play in the conference at the SEC conference. Like I said, those guys got to enter their belts being full-time starters. And I'm looking forward to watching those guys and even the younger guys that kind of got thrown to the fire at an early age, watching those guys as they grow older.
How do you feel about that?
I feel good about it. I feel good about those guys that are working really hard. Again, they are ready to go out and have a great season. And we just got to teach them one play at a time, one game at a time, and go from there.
2 more questions, guys.
Walter Nolan, I think, was one of the highest rated recruits ever in Texas. And we'll fit into the recruiting process of getting him there, and then speak to his development over the past year. It's like he's maybe slimmed down some.
Yeah, well, one thing about Walt is about we get into our relationships, and Nick Williams has went on to Colorado now. I know Nick had a great relationship with him. He was at Georgia, and just he kind of opened that door for us and just built a relationship with him. Again, great family, great kid. Again, talented, but again, you ask him to go out and play a lot of ball in the SEC conference, and he asked them down to get some of the baby fat off of him. They started putting the weight back on. And again, he's a really talented young man, and I think he's going to have a chance to be really special.
Who among that group up front is there a guy who we haven't seen much of and think we're going to see a lot of that may get to the
You know, you look at that class that everybody raved about, that young D-line class, and they all played in spurts. You know, I'll be interested to see just kind of as we go into camp, which one of those guys just kind of become ready to be a full-time guy. Again, between LT, Shamar Stewart, again, Walter Nolan, Howard Reed, you guys can say his name a bunch, but those guys got a lot of ball for us. So I'm looking forward to this fall camp, and seeing how those guys continue to get better. One thing I talk about those guys is just not what they can do in the D-line, but who can help us, on special teams, who can help us overall. And Howard Reed was a guy that went out and I think blocked 3 field goals last year for us. So just looking for guys that can make an impact all over the field. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
And once again, I want to thank Junior's Smokehouse for being the title sponsor of the Lone Star College Football Show. I look forward to telling you more about them each and every episode. Hey, if you want coverage of your school or just want to give a shout out to your team, leave us a voicemail at 713-568-6361 and we'll play it out on the show. That number again is 713-568-6361. Also, do us a favor and give us a rating and review on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. We will also read out the best reviews on the air. Until next time, I'm Chris Daly reminding you to get out there and enjoy some football.